Wide.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
HAL Sparks, actor, comedian, and multimedia personality.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
HAL Sparks.
All right, let's do this.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome, Johnny Million.
Hi.
Welcome to your giant cat exercise facility that is right over your right shoulder. People.
That's right, and it's covered with drum things because she does not get up there anymore.
Oh, I see. Because I thought you were just using that for creative music, just
This
experimentation.
extra percussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they're like stories of Led Zeppelin beating on pots and pans, and you're like,
Sure,
wait
yeah.
a second, maybe a cat tree.
Yes.
You'll only know what the heck we're talking about if you're watching on the live stream at infotainmentwars.com, or of course at twitch.tv/HalSparks, where you can subscribe and support the show. Now, this week, I have to say, I feel like after the search and seizure of Mar-a-Lago classified documents, the search and seizure warrant, which is, and by the way, just for our friends out in MAGA land and all stuff, Mar-a-Lago was not raided. It was not raided. There was not a raid. They didn't kick in the door. They served a search warrant. They walked through. They behaved themselves. They put
Trump's
things,
attorney signed it twice.
yeah, even after, by the way, lying about the FBI, about not only about their behavior, but about the fact that she said for days that she was not allowed to see the search warrant. We now know that she signed it personally and was given a full copy of it. She said this for, I think, 3 days. Trump himself, on the day of the search, said that his place was raided and occupied by FBI agents. Think about that for a second. Think about this: searched, he said, seized and raided. Imagine you're missing half your brain. You're kind of a standard run-of-the-mill, hardcore Trump supporter. You have been on several boat parades. One of the boats sank, but that didn't deter you. You've got your Trump rally punch card where you got to go to your 98th one free because you went to 97. You believe
You get an extra scoop of ice cream.
Yeah, you actually believe that his health care plan.
I'm sorry, Hal. First, Lisa Mia Moore came in with a super chat. Now Hal Vickery has come in with a super chat.
Oh, mercy. Bless you guys. Thank you so much.
But Hal's reason for sending a super chat has been unfortunately redacted.
Oh dear. Did he send us a link, or he just
It's just that it appears that he tried to type out why he was sending it, and then I just see the word redacted.
I understand. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I see it. There you go. So much of our chat is being redacted this morning to protect the innocent. But thank you guys so much, and thank you for your support. It's what keeps the show afloat. And
and thank you, Jordan. Jordan throws in Trump's lawyers screwed up the new court documents. They're completely inept.
Oh boy, and thank God. That again.
Yeah, yet again.
I'm maybe enjoying this a little too much, but I'm trying to keep the "I told you so" at a bare minimum. But so let's be abundantly clear to the aforementioned maggot we were talking to, that at no point was and I'm sure these people are hardcore. They expect in 2 weeks his healthcare plan to come out. They're ready for it. They are always 2 weeks away from the solution. They think that even though immigration was not as much of a problem before the wall, and apparently it's terrible and the worst it's ever been, and an absolute crisis after the wall, that the wall couldn't possibly be to blame. At this point, I'm beginning to think Trump built like a catapult or a water slide or something like that that's just apparently making it way easier to get into the country. The Obama administration never had this kind of problem. Now, between you and I, we all know that most of the count is recidivism, people being kicked out immediately and coming right back in, being kicked out immediately and coming right back in. And we're not going to arrest them because that means we have to keep them, give them 3 hots and a cot and keep them in jail forever and ever. And that might be preferable where they are in some cases, but that's not what any country can do. It's not going to start housing and imprisoning the foreign nationals as a matter of policy. It's not going to happen. So, obviously I blame the wall. So let's say though that you're all in on Donald Trump. You think he's magic. He's the only way America is great is if he is in power. If you're listening to him on Monday when this raid, when the search happened, call it a raid, and say that they not only did they raid the place, which of course, imagine if you will, in your TV land.
Thank you, Karen and Raymond. More super chats. Sorry, they're
thank
just
you.
crazy today.
Not at all. It's beautiful. We will once I'm done with my opening rant, we will absolutely address many of those. Thanks so much. So these folks, imagine what they're imagining when Donald Trump sends out a message on Truth Social that says Mar-a-Lago has been raided and now it is being occupied by the FBI. Think of in terms of hostage standoffs or the Chaz and the the Chop and the Chaz in Seattle and Occupy Wall Street, that they have taken the place, driven everyone out, boarded up the windows. It's a violent, seizure of the place. The imagery that he used was, wholly not representative of the truth, but also the language around it was incredibly violent and, and dangerous in attributing that kind of behavior to the FBI. And the most striking aspect of it to me was the fact that he put out this story about it being occupied after they had left, after they had handed his lawyer the paper. She signed it at 6:19. His story came out on Truth Social at 6:43. They even say they came in, they ransacked, they rummaged through everything. They made us turn off the cameras. Remember that whole story? They made us turn off. They told us, this is interesting. They told us to turn off the cameras. This was a constant talking point for 4 days. And then the talking point came back, well, but we didn't because it was optional and we have the film of it. Now, the question is, did they actually ask? Because there is footage of this. Now, at any point, Trump and his ilk could release that footage. They could do it now.
Yep.
In the same way that they could release the 60 days of footage that drove the DOJ to say, oh my God, we have to get this stuff out of Mar-a-Lago. This is dangerous. We don't know who is coming and going from this property. And now that we see how many people are coming and going, including Kash Patel and others who were appointed by the president to go through this stuff, the former president, to go through this stuff, essentially for, whatever they managed to taco out of the White House. Because that's what we find out now, is that in and amongst the boxes, in magazines and newspapers about how great he was, that he was saving, that this was going to be in his, which will be the entirety of his presidential library. Let's be honest. It will all be praise documents and loops of Fox News saying Trump is the greatest president. And there'll be a constant feed of Newsmax in his Trump library. And then the rest of it will just be magazines saying he's awesome and no sign that he was ever terrible, right? That he'll any article just completely out. But so he saved a bunch of those things. But inside them, where they are finding the classified documents, insofar as we know, and according to the affidavit that was based on the 12 boxes that the FBI and the DOJ were told to come get in January, that turned out to be 15 boxes, 14 of which contained classified documents. All of it contained NARA violation documents in it, all stuff that he shouldn't have taken. 14 of them had classified, top secret, SI, secure intel, that if that gets out, people die. People, spies that are working with us and for us, double agents that we turned, that kind of information, those people die. And I've got a story specific to that when we come back. That said, when he's lying about the behavior of the FBI for as many days as he is, and then it leads up to the guy in Cincinnati, doing a lone wolf attack. The idea that somehow MAGA folks aren't, there aren't a few of them that are getting together and deciding this is it. is the most concerning part of this. And Trump has shown a complete inability to in any way take responsibility for the fact that he was lying when he talked about the FBI in the beginning and dial down that language now. He's saying it's up to other people to dial it down by giving him what he wants. That at this point, the responsibility is on the DOJ if violence happens, and the only way it won't is if they give him everything back and pretend this never happened and never bother him again. Otherwise, he might have to turn his loonies loose. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. It's the HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, now with 100% more Johnny Million. At Johnny Million on Twitter. I'm at HAL Sparks. We'll look at some of those super chats and what people are asking after the break. But the guests at Mar-a-Lago are getting a lot of scrutiny. We'll be back.
So Devin just told me that you're kind of crackly going his way now, kind of what I hear.
So that's so weird. Let me see what
It doesn't sound like it's getting progressively worse, like it's descending into something. It sounds just like an iffy connection.
Okay. Let me see if it's volume-wise and it's just trying to compensate.
It almost sounds like digital clipping, but it's also leaving some gaps.
Okay, let me see if I see that. Let me see if this can do it.
The prof says that YouTube is loud and clear, especially me.
Oh yeah.
So it's just what Chicago and me are hearing. I am hearing.
Gotcha. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's weird.
Let's see about me settings.
Thanks for the YouTube feedback chat room.
Audio. Yes, appreciate it.
Oh, and thank you, Muffin, for your super chat. MUFN, Muffin. That's a very efficient muffin.
Let's see. No, all right. Yeah, it should be.
HAL is in San Francisco.
I am indeed. It should be super duper clear. Unfortunately, I'm not quite sure why that would be wonky that direction. Because there's no particular
especially
reason.
Since it's clean on YouTube. That's a bummer.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what that could be, and it's confusing. And my mic, let's see, my mic on there is room settings. Maybe that's it. Change room video. Let's see. Let's see, turn this down. Let's see. All right, I will continue to tweak it on there.
Okay. Last week was a rerun, Brad. HAL was trying to make it work.
Yeah, I'm working on it. There's no practical reason.
15.
Thank you. There's no practical reason why. I might try to reload the page that we're using during the break or something like that.
Thank you, Ray Taylor.
Attention. Stop what you're doing.
Yep.
Because we're coming back to the HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
They went a little crazy with it, and I appreciate it.
Now let's get back with HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
So, Johnny Million, I have a question for you, and it might be a little personal. Have you ever been in a vitition? Is that ever been? You don't have to tell me on the air. Have you ever been in a vitition?
Not directly, not completely enveloped inside an envision.
Right. Okay. Good. I think that's.
But I've definitely stumbled in dangerously close to being in a position.
Haven't we all at this point? I don't know that any of you at home, maybe some of the crowd out there has been in a vitition. It's entirely possible that Mark Meadows or maybe even Lindsey Graham's staffers are out there. And ultimately, Innovation is the real name of a Russian woman who lived in Ukraine, who came to America. Her father's actually from Illinois, who,
Wow.
speaks several languages, very smart woman, smart enough to get a fake passport and a fake Florida driver's license. More on that later. That says Anna de Rothschild on it. Anna de Rothschild of the House Rothschild for the Who's at Home. De Rothschild, as I like to call them. Anna de Rothschild. And Anna de Rothschild was a fake socialite in Florida who went to fancy parties. She went to golf tournaments. She drove around town in a $170,000 Mercedes SUV. She had an address on her driver's license at a home for a $13 million mansion she had never set foot in her life. And Anna de Rothschild has been Innovation more than anyone because that's her real name. Her real name is Innovation. And she has been in and out of Mar-a-Lago without a membership or without a guest bringing her in that we know of, and that'll be more of a story, for almost all of 2021. Now, what was happening as far as the secret documents in 2021 that were at Mar-a-Lago? Well, they were in a storage room with a lock on it, similar to the kind you would have on a door to a bathroom where you don't want your kids locking themselves in, so you can use the end of a coat hanger or a hairpin or a safety pin to get in, right? Had that kind of lock on it. It was not, for all practical purposes, a secure facility. There is, this is a story. This is from the New York Post, which is the home of the fake Hunter Biden laptop story. Fake news, total witch hunt, fake news. There is no laptop, fake news. It's true, there is no laptop, but I'm just turning that on them. New York Post, though, was the first to we've seen it. No, you haven't. Anyways, a Ukrainian woman posing as a member of the Rothschild banking family. Now, here's the thing. The Rothschilds are cartoonishly linked to every conspiracy on the planet. There's almost no family or person other than George Soros that you could, if the only other person besides saying she was Anna de Soros that she could say that would set off more alarm bells in Q land would be the Rothschilds family. It is, literally, that's the first name listed in the Pentaveret joke in So I Married an Axe Murderer, that the lead family that runs the Pentaveret is the Rothschilds. Linked to, conspiracy-wise, you cannot do better. You cannot, the anti-Semitic thread through it, the international bankers controlling everything, almost every conspiracy theory you've ever heard links back somehow to the Rothschilds. And yet this woman figured that the perfect way to walk unobstructed straight onto the grounds at Mar-a-Lago was to pretend to be a member of the Rothschild family. Does that not sound hinky to you? So of all the,
this is worse than we thought, isn't it?
It's way worse. Okay, so Innovation, 33, lied to ritzy resort members that she was the heiress to the reputed family's mass fortune, Anna de Rothschild, according to a probe by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So the FBI, let me explain this to you. This woman got busted pretending to be a Rothschild, getting onto Mar-a-Lago's property. All of 2021, they discovered her. Now, when did the trap get set and shut on this person? After January. Now, why after January? Because that's when they discovered that, when they started looking at what documents were there that were classified, they got the 60 days of footage, and all of a sudden, this woman who's been posing as a Rothschild is busted. Okay. All right. She appeared at numerous Mar-a-Lago functions, mingling with the likes of Trump, Lindsey Graham, Eric Greitens, and others, while she held the position of president of United Hearts of Mercy, founded by Florida-based Russian oligarch and former business partner Valery Tarasenko in Canada in 2015. After hundreds of thousands of dollars in payments to the foundation, processor Stripe Incorporated suspected fraud and halted the funds for the campaign, which was supposed to help families devastated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Yashishin is now the subject of several federal investigations after it was revealed she is not in fact a member of the Rothschild family. She's additionally under investigation by Canadian authorities for financial crimes because they were shuffling like COVID donations out of the country. I mean, if you were going to do that, what better place to go than Mar-a-Lago? I mean, who knows more about setting up fake charities that shuffle money to your own legal bills than the Trumps? Maybe she was just there for a seminar. Maybe Eric was teaching a class, and it was a members only, below the radar. You only if you're a MAGA King of the Week or whatever that email that was sent out. And additionally, Vashishin is the Russian-speaking daughter of an Illinois truck driver, which is, by the way, the most endearing quality about her. We shout out to Illinois truck drivers wherever you may be. And let's see, she allegedly made several trips to the ex-president's Florida estate with her fake identity to make connections with some of the nation's biggest leaders, according to the paper. Federal records obtained by the Post-Gazette. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is the one who broke this story, which is so amazing to me. No wonder Trump's like, Pennsylvania is the most corrupt. Like, it must have been Pennsylvania, like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh reporters humping around there. By the way, go Bucks. Okay, so federal records obtained by the Post-Gazette and the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project showed Vashishin had 2 fake passports from the U.S. and Canada with the name Anna de Rothschild, a Florida driver's license in her name listing a $13 million Miami Beach mansion where she never lived. Vashishin's formerly worked in a suburban Miami business. And this is the best part. There's a lot of best parts, but this is the best part. She formerly worked for a Miami-based charity that helped Russian pregnant women come to the United States, stay in Trump Tower, and give birth so their children would have citizenship.
Aww.
I mean, please. This is... It's like every part of Trump, every Trump road has circled around and created, has just jammed into a cul-de-sac of corruption. It's amazing to me. This woman was participating in the Trump Tower anchor baby schemes to make Russian children American citizens so that they'd have dual citizenship, by the way, so they could come and go. So a generation of spies, I suppose, could come and stay over here because... Yeah, it's amazing. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. It's a HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Please like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. Support the show in any way that you can. We'll be back right after this.
And Bruce in the chat said all roads lead to Russia.
Yeah. It again.
So did Jeanette Cook.
Seriously. They keep on the story on this online. It says Ukrainian woman. Everybody keeps saying Ukrainian woman. She's from an area that Russia populated post 2014 with their own people. They moved Russians into that area. She's not a Ukrainian woman. She's a Russian woman who lived in Ukraine, but they call her a Ukrainian woman. This is part of the kind of language manipulation.
Yeah.
Get CCCP out of Kentucky, the conservative congressional cooperative. You mean the CCP or all right. So, anyways. Innovation, yet another. I mean, it is the perfect culmination of all of this stuff. Like, it's all of it. is linked. All of it ties together. It's incredible. I mean, at the stunning part. And by the way, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like, give a thumbs up if you're in. If you're on YouTube,
and we had a super chat question where, let me scroll back, see if I can still see it.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, Poetess Bernadette. Oh crap, won't let me go all the way back. I can't remember who asked, but they asked, oh, it was Mr. Monster.
Yeah.
Asked if we think that Trump is finally going to see any consequences.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be bad. But it'll take a while. It won't be there. They'll take months to do it. But this is all, I mean, this fish hook is not coming out.
Coming back in 10.
Thank you.
Kenneth Otto, I appreciate the suggestion, but it's not Devin. It's not on Devin's side.
No.
I know I'm only on 1 day a week. I get it. I'm gonna have to jump on GarageBand and start sawing something together. This is the HAL Sparks Show. Wow. And a guitar note, and then progressive, and all. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Hey, Hal, did you mean something like this?
This is the HAL Sparks Show. Wow. And a guitar note, and then progressive, and all. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
The HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Welcome back, Chicago. I'm going to be messing around a little bit. If I do something horrible, just let me know. Audio wise, trying to solve the issue that we have, but hopefully you got it. Excellent, thank you. And the story of innovation, Anna Rothschild, from the house Melmahay, from
You
the
keep
court.
reminding me of Judge Smales saying, "Well,
we're waiting." Well, that's how we all feel about Trump getting indicted. And and again, somebody was asking, Mr. Monster in our chat was asking, is there a chance that Trump is finally going to see consequences? The answer is absolutely yes. Here's how I think it's going to break down. Number one, they're going to lose their business license in New York, and that will be the end of Trump Tower. It will take maybe a year and a half, but it will eventually, the property will be sold because he can't go there anymore to do business or run the business out of there. So they have to move everything out of there. And that process is already in motion because of the fraud issue. Now, again, if you ever have seen the weirdest reality show that exists, which is Chris Lee Knows Best, which is a show I have no idea how it got on the air and seems to be entirely based on when is this woman going to realize her husband is gay. That seems to be the entire reason. Honestly, it's like that's what the show seems to be for everyone, right? It's I don't know any other reason to watch it. You know what I mean? It's like the one of the opening sketches from Kids in the Hall, Brain Candy. So it's amazing. But this guy, he and his wife did the exact same thing Trump did, which is tell the IRS your properties aren't worth crap, to not pay taxes, tell the banks they're worth twice what they are to get bigger loans. They did the exact same thing on millions of dollars worth of property in Georgia, and they both just got, wait for it, 30 years. That's just state crime. 30 years. They got 30 years. And they're on a popular show that's been running for a long time. Now, will they serve those 30 years? Probably not. They'll probably get 10. They'll probably do 5. It'll be, they're not a danger to the community physically. They were just liars and cheats and that kind of stuff. But Trump is guilty of that in New York and in other states many, many times over, both between there and the federal, between the federal government, what he's told them, and international banks and state banks and all this kind of stuff. Even his newest loans that he got from a buddy bank, there's no doubt that even on those filings, the guy looked the other way, but he may have been, just tell me they're worth this so I can lend you the money. And ultimately, that's still a lie. Even if the banker you're working with helps defraud because they have investors, they've got laws about their holdings, laws about bank reserves, laws about what they can do for if they've got banking customers, they can't give out sweetheart deals like that. It's illegal. So even if they're trying to, these MAGA bankers are trying to help him, it's still illegal. He's still doing it. Even his new ones after he's left office, he's doing the same stuff. So that there is no way that doesn't like monkey wrench the entire works of Trump as an organization. Will he refile for a new Trump organization in Florida? Yes. Will that shift? Will there be a team of attorneys, spending about millions of dollars moving the assets and reallocating every LLC they've created to hide everything? Will they move that? Of course they will. Will it work? No. Eventually it will catch up to them. Not because that kind of financial chicanery isn't possible. People do it all the time and get away with it. But you have to understand, we're not talking about smart people with financial acumen and a great understanding of real estate. We're talking about Donald Trump, a moron who only feels good when the people under him are stupid or are dumber than he is. And therefore, they have to be amazingly dumb. So his lawyers are idiots because he has to Trump-splain everything to everyone who works for him. It's not going to work. It's beautiful. Anyway, so to your question, the first thing will be that part. The Georgia case is a real one. Will he do time for that? No, but a fine of some major element and a tarnished record. That's where Georgia leads. Unless they really want to try to give him 30 days and make him do it, which will be hilarious to watch because they're going to, talk about kicking and screaming. And then we get to national security. This is this is an era in American history because of the depths of depravity of this man and his total disregard for the safety of the American people and his only concern to cover his own butt. Where he dug a hole deep enough that he can't climb out of it. And this stuff gets worse by the day. And the timing is perfect because the folks around him are just now looking at DeSantis and a few others who have popped their head up. It ain't going to be Marge. It ain't going to be Matt Gaetz. Those guys are in trouble. They're never going to be the future of the party. But DeSantis, they think he's the real deal. Now, he's not. He's not electable on a national level. He ain't. He's not. I'm telling you right now, he makes his own messes. He's got besides dorking through one of the worst political ads with Top Gov. Did you see that nonsense?
Yeah, Top Gov is rough.
Oh, it's so bad. But he thinks that's an ad for somebody in his office went, Maverick's doing really well with our viewers. If we do one of those, our supporters, they'll love that. And that was enough. He was like, I'm in. I get to,
and then just the context of the clips that he put in there were just like everything you don't want government to do.
Right. Exactly. It's like absolute disregard for the material safety of the people and total control over their social structure. So like, I ban books and burn them. I shut down talk of stuff. I made certain topics illegal, but I also didn't protect you from
your freedom.
Yeah, right. Fight for your freedom to die of a disease, but not read, books I don't like. It's amazing. He's not the dude. He's not the heir apparent to MAGA. But there's enough Republicans starting to drift his direction because he talks the talk that like maybe he's the next guy. Maybe he's the perfect person to make up for the loss of Trump. When stuff goes down. And so they were moving that direction. The polls are showing that. Even, Trump wouldn't show up at CPAC unless they guaranteed him that he would win the straw poll. So they made him win the straw poll. Talk about like election fraud. The schlaps, he knows them personally. They're sycophants as well. And he basically said, I'm not going to show up unless I'm winning that thing. And you got to make it me win. And if I don't show up, all my followers are going to be mad. So You make me win or I'm not showing. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Come on. And even then,
Make me win.
yeah, even then, functionally like guaranteeing, faking the win for him at CPAC, rigging the straw poll so that he doesn't lose face. Even then, DeSantis is getting a quarter of the crowd. And if believe me, if they had ranked choice there, DeSantis is getting 80% behind Trump's 90%. They go like, oh, I can't get him, I get him, and I'm fine with that. And that's terrifying for Trump world. Because the whole premise of the Trump brand is that he is America. That without him, there is no like Trump, there like even Ultra MAGA, which was Trump without Trump, is MAGA without Trump. The people who started floating that, it became a joke, and then Trump seized on it himself to say that that's the next phase for him. But in reality, it was about people moving on from Trump. But the idea that they have predicated his safety, his legal safety, his experience as a, just being in the political limelight as the kingmaker itself is not enough. He must be the leader or he is nothing. He has so set himself up to be the figurehead, and he is so useless in any other capacity that the minute he slips, it's game over. And we are seeing that process. It's not going to be a single moment. We've noticed that, he's had several single moments. The rest of society has moved on. The 81 million Americans were like, bye. A bunch of his supporters were like, bye, but I'll vote for you because I think the other guy's going to win, and I can hold my head high in the diner and say I voted for Trump one last time. But understand this. There is no middle ground for Donald Trump. The only option he has... What happened?
Patty Ann is thrown down with 100-somethings.
Oh, my Lord. Thank you so much.
Whatever SEK stands for.
Oh, Swedish kronar. That's very sweet. Welcome to NATO, guys.
Patty Ann for the Swedish kronar.
That's really sweet. And bless you guys for support. If I'm filibustering, understand there's a reason, because I'm trying to get through. There's so many.
I'm not even going to look up the conversion rate because I wouldn't understand it.
There's so many details in this that are kind of amazing. But there are two roles Trump can have in the future of the GOP that salvages him and protects him to some degree in the manner to which he's become accustomed. One is president. That is not going to happen. He is never going to be president again. He can't afford to run. Forget about it. The other one is king of the GOP. The Republican Party is the party of Trump, and he must knight you as an heir apparent for anybody to run. He has to give his okay. And basically, you have to sign up for being a puppet to Donald Trump to become the next Republican presidential candidate. And they will go after viciously anyone that is not in line with the MAGA Trump movement or doesn't acquiesce to 100% of what he says. If they doubt him for a second, they are insufficiently MAGA and they got to go. This is the rhino talk we've been hearing for months. And it is going to get worse. And here's why. Because Trump knows he's not running for president. He can't afford it. If he leaves the super PAC, he goes broke. He's done. The minute he leaves that super PAC, it's over. Mar-a-Lago is in probate. Bedminster has to be sold as a cemetery for rent or something. He's going to lose the Scottish property probably first. He'll start jettisoning foreign properties, and then the American properties, and then Mar-a-Lago will be last, and they'll try to turn it into the presidential library with donors. Watch for that to happen, by the way. They're not going to have another property other than Mar-a-Lago. That's it. That will be the last bastion. That'll be the Howard Hughes moment where he's just peeing in mason jars and growing his nails out and hiding in the tower. And everybody will come by, and you'll hope if you're at the Trump library that he comes down and waves at you at the omelet bar. But he has to be the kingmaker. The problem he has is that he does not know what makes a good Republican candidate and what makes a bad Republican candidate. See Dr. Oz. See Herschel Walker. Like he just is told who to pick, who's going to win. Somebody says, this is the guy with the biggest name recognition. We put money behind him. He's going to win. Then he goes, okay, pay me $250,000 and I'll show up at the campaign. It'll be a campaign expense. You pay me to show up and I'll endorse you. That's what's happening. That is free and clear. That's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is those guys are going to lose. Oz is going to lose. Walker's going to lose. And those are huge. And and Tim Ryan more than likely is going to win in Ohio. And so JD Vance.
Does Oz really think he's going to win? Like his Twitter account is embarrassing.
It's brutal. Oh yeah. Dr. Crudite, which is what they're calling him now. We got to take a break. But when we come back this fall, if you think the rigged election talk was bad after 2020, watch when Trump's ratty, poorly thought out candidates who know nothing about the constituencies they're there to serve, who don't care, who look at it as a ladder, a rung to power that he's put in. That's what he shares with them. He thinks that's why we get along.
Who's the woman who lost her primary who started just losing her mind?
Which one? There's been 3 of them. Yeah, but yes, she's like, I'm not going to concede. That's already happened. That's in the Republican primary.
This is my life.
That's the Republican primaries. They don't trust their own primaries. You think they're going to trust this midterm election when, by the way, the Democrats will expand their Senate seats. We will gain seats in the Senate, and more than likely we will gain seats in the House. It won't be much. It might be a margin of 4 or 6. Loomer, that's right, Laura Loomer, absolutely. We got to take a break.
Oh my word, was she the one who wrote all the racist books and said that she's been canceled?
Yes. Laura Loser.
Even though you can buy them anywhere.
Don't call her Laura Loser, Chad. It upsets her, and she's already upset enough. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. It's the HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Oh, Kenneth Otto in the chat said that living in Florida, there's DeSantis ads on every monetized video you watch online. That would be just...
Yeah, but it's hilarious because they're terrible. Again, you can have too much of a good thing. Part of the problem with Trump world, and this is why sometimes I mitigate my own language about a lot of these things, is simply because you can get out over your skis. You can write checks your ass can't cash, and I try to avoid that as much as I can by genuinely looking at what available information I have, the reality of the circumstance. The Republicans somehow just cannot stop themselves. They just honestly, after the FBI raid, they were like, this is the turning point. You watch. Republicans are fired up. The whole country's going to show up to vote. Whatever. Boy, did that shit peter out. In days.
Yeah.
No, independents have shifted to Joe Biden by 7 points. More than Democrats that were out of the fold that came back. Now, fewer Democrats left, but that's enormous. 7% shift. Biden's numbers, right now, Biden is at is back to 44% from a drop up to 39%.
We're coming back in 20.
Thank you. That was the low point. He's back to 44%, which is the highest Trump ever got. Ever. 45 never hit 45. And Biden just hit, and think of all the times they were like, this is the greatest president, most popular president, the American people finally, blah, blah, blah. And Biden has the exact
Damien Perdue of Think Theory Radio, Saturdays at 6 p.m. You're listening to HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I thought there was going to be a new one every break. I was so excited.
You want more, Hal? We'll give you more. HAL Sparks radio
Thank you, Bobby Brunswick.
Worldwide on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820. Hoo-yah!
Oh my gosh, it's we talked during the breaks at twitch.tv/HalSparks. Subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribing is good. Always subscribe. And then of course there's a Venmo up at the corner if you want to help out too. You can take a picture of that with your phone and you could just do it that way. It's fantastic. And thank you for the super chats, guys. Robert just said, hi, Hal and Johnny. Love you both. Loved all the sparklers. Yes, we adore you. By the way, I have to say on a personal note, I didn't get to do a show last week because we were traveling. I was in Gatlinburg and Dallas, Texas. We went up to Plano, did a show, and I'm in San Francisco this week. Now, it shouldn't be any surprise that there are some regular live stream and CPT viewers and listeners in San Francisco. That shouldn't shock anyone. I have a history with this city going back to when I was on Queer as Folk, and I marched with Gavin Newsom for marriage equality from Harvey Milk Square to the Supreme Court building. Gavin, hi. You're an awesome dude. Keep at it. I don't like bullies either. I'm messaging is great. Keep at it. And it shouldn't be any surprise that a few people walked up at the Nerd Halen show last night where we opened for Enough's Enough, where, by the way, Johnny, I got up on stage and I sang a New Thing and Fly High Michelle with them. That was great. It was nice. Lovely Chicago band. And Donnie's not with them currently, but he's out there. Donnie, we love you. You're amazing. Get back on stage, brother. You're a hit machine. You're a hit writing machine.
They're his songs. They're
amazing. So it just a great time. But there were a bunch of people who came up at these shows that have started showing up in stream tees, essentially, like the merch that I sell on my YouTube channel, and at Twitch, my NFTs, which you can buy there, and my which are really just T-shirts with NF on them. But I mean, it's an original joke, and I love it. But all of our Motang shirts and all those kind of things, and I see them in the audience, and I'm just it's a shock because I think of. You and me, Johnny, we do this show, and you just kind of talk into your computer, and then you're like, oh yeah, right. This goes out into the world. We just try.
Yeah.
We are us for real. This is us for real. So you don't really feel like, oh, they love my character on this thing. It's personal, and it's a beautiful thing. It's just really lovely, and I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate it.
I'm starting to take this very personally, Hal.
Huh? Yeah. Well, and I have to say, I got to figure out a Johnny Million shirt at some point. We got to have something available.
Oh, boy.
Or something like that. So it doesn't have to be a shirt. It could be some sort of like apparatus, personal pleasure device. We'll figure it out. That's just
now you're talking.
It's a possibility. I'm just saying. I'm just
some sort of remote control fart machine.
Right. That's what it is. I'll buy like those ones that just put it like change the label on it to the Johnny Million, Fartmatic. Right. So anyways, it's been lovely to see everybody. And a lot of those questions come up about is Trump going to finally, and I'm here to say A, yes, B, you want it to be slow walked. You want every T crossed, every I dotted. And you want the process to be so laborious, to some degree boring and legal, and obviously real, obviously true, where the evidence is undeniable, so that his lunatic followers of the ilk that would show up at the Cincinnati FBI office have lost interest, moved on to DeSantis, or have decided to just shut up and go back to their own life because they've got,
I'm sorry, Hal. Francis in chat said, personally, I love my Johnny Million licensed CPAP mask.
There's something to it. There's something to it. I would rule it out. That's good. But we're gonna have to make a
Million life jacket.
When I come to Chicago,
5,000. Okay, how
right.
much of this can we say on the radio?
No, not much. Keep it to yourself. Yeah, if you want to watch it, you have to join the chat. All right. So, also, I will be in town for the Sexy Liberal show, end of the month in Chicago, the 24th. Sexy Liberal is coming to Chicago, and that means I get to do the show in studio. So I'm so exciid to do that.
Yay! I'll bring my CPAP mask.
That's right. And I'm going to be in a couple of days early. So I'll be doing my show, my live stream show from Chicago. And and we're going to have to film a Johnny Million ad for like all the Johnny Million, devices. get them while they're hot ads. I'm only going to sell those items on my store. I'm going to get an account as a vendor on Mike Lindell's My Store.
Oh no.
Which is his Walmart competitor. Anyways, all right, we're almost. We've been joking so long. We're almost to the end of the block, and there's and then we've got another hour, which is awesome, and I'm excited about that. By the way, it is very possible that our dear friend Philip Ittner will be joining us next week or the week after. He's back in the States. He's safe and sound, and then he's going back to Ukraine. I think end of the month. So we're threading that needle, but he's doing well. He's settling in for this, and he's out of range of missile strikes from the Russians.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the Ukraine story because the United States. There's a lot of these stories about we keep sending money to Ukraine. Okay, we just sent another $3 billion worth of gear and money to Ukraine. Okay, people are acting as if that's new. It ain't. We signed off on the aid package earlier this year in the spring, and it is being released as it becomes available, either through the Lend-Lease program or through gear that's made available from us. So we're giving them this much money, but it's actually this much money in U.S.-made gear. So that goes out, and it's being doled out, and after they get training. And all these other elements have to be in place to ship it there and that kind of stuff. So it's not just we didn't just dump $40 billion on them in the spring and then go see in 3 months and then they're like, we need another. That's not how it works. That money, it's not new. And the president has to sign off on every single one of these. This is how government works when it's actually functioning. That when these things come up, it's already been allocated, but the president has to sign off on it. Hence how Trump was able to threaten Zelensky by not giving him javelins in the last year of his presidency while he was trying to manipulate him into starting a fake investigation, or not even starting it, but announcing a fake investigation. That was the request. Just go up there, do a press conference and say you're looking into the crimes of Joe Biden and Hunter Biden in Ukraine. There don't have to be any. By the time there aren't any, it'll be too late. The election will be over, and that will help us. He was trying to recreate the Comey talking point that helped him get elected against Hillary Clinton. He was trying to just make that happen again, and he was doing it by leveraging the president's just the regular mechanic of governing, where the president, when an allocation that has already been agreed to by Congress has stages, you have to sign off on each stage before it actually happens. And he held that stuff hostage to scare the crap out of Zelensky. And we now know, by the way, that Russia was going to move in no matter who won. This has always been the plan. And that means he was withholding arms he knew they were going to need within months. That's going to be one of the shocking things. We got to take a break. We're right at the end of the hour, and I'm trying to time this out as best I can. But this is HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. If you're new here, welcome. Glad to have you here. And we are here every Saturday on Chicago's Progressive Talk, AM 820. Program it into your dial, you're in the car right now. You got those buttons. Either hit set and one of the buttons, or just hit the button and hold it. That'll do it. Then we're always here. We'll be back right after this. So, I'm on Truth Social now. I finally, Johnny, they keep blocking what I say, though. Yeah, I'm not. And by the way, my language is saucy, but not, on the scale of offensive that I often use on, say, Twitter. By the way,
my language is saucy.
It is very saucy. Saucy. Now, oh God, he's okay. So, the last Trump hasn't tweeted in 11 hours, so he's still unconscious. He's a wake and baker. When it came to Twitter, Remember when he was on Twitter?
Oh,
You could tell he was, gacked out of his brain on Adderall or whatever, because he'd sleep 6 hours a night, and he would literally like he'd be tweeting till he passed out on his phone, and then he'd wake up and start make America great again. Right? As soon as he woke up, but now there's a lot of gaps, and it's interesting that he wasn't this busy where he couldn't tweet when he was president of the United States. Like, he would never go these stretches like he does on Truth Social, without writing something. Dems need to make DeSantis Dukakis tank moment. Oh, they already are. I've seen the memes go around. Yeah. Was coffee a wake-up tweet? No, I don't think he drinks coffee. Right? I don't think that's his thing. If anybody who drinks coffee, you've seen him drink coffee. He drinks Diet Coke from the jump. He wakes and bakes Diet Coke, more than likely, and I obviously I won't. The story is that it's Adderall and a bunch of other stimulants, but at the very least, crushed green Sudafed. Yeah. What the hell is that? Right. So he's just retweeting clips. Media gets really dramatic over affidavit release on. Oh, this is. I was looking at. He has a CNN clip up, and then I was like, oh, it's a Fox News thing playing at a CNN one.
Oh yeah.
And it's all Jesse Waters. Like, Jesse Waters' new job is defending Trump. Like, he's the dude there now. Tucker won't do it. Hannity is like trying his best, but you can tell he knows better. He's just older, and he's just not willing to step into the bear trap again.
Yeah.
But Jesse Waters doesn't care. It's almost like he knows his contract's coming up, and they're not going to renew it, so he's got to go to Newsmax, or he's got to move to The Wire or something. So he's just decided, he's all in. Yeah, Diet Coke and 6 McGriddles. He eats the fish. The only thing like Donald Trump and I have in common.
I'll crush a McGriddle. I'm sorry, I will.
I know you will. The only thing my go-to was the Filet-O-Fish at McDonald's.
Oh yeah,
it really was. But he doesn't call it that. He calls it the Fish Delight. And apparently no one will correct him. And so he orders them, and there was like stories for years of people running around the set of the Apprentice and all the way up to the White House going, what the fuck is a Fish Delight?
Yeah.
And they're like, he means Filet-O-Fish. What? Where did he hear Fish Delight? I don't know. Nobody knows where it came up.
1950s restaurant he went when he was a kid.
Right, yeah. I wonder if Mom, do they have the Fish Delight here? Yeah, that's what this is. Oh, more Fish Delight, please. Fish Delight. just that phrase. It's ridiculous. What would you like, sir? I'll have the Fish Delight. Is it delightful? We think so. It's like the wacky names they give smoothies. Enough already. I'll have the pomegranate paradise and a razzmatazz, and then please punch me in the face for saying pomegranate paradise and I want and razzmatazz in the same sentence like a jackass. Trump is not doing in-person interviews, though. But there were a couple of times where he was throwing himself in front of a camera at Newsmax at the very least. Nothing. Just nothing. Where's political hacks and thugs? We saw that one. He's He's mostly tweeting like he does. Trump does this thing when
Coming
people,
back in 15.
Okay, thank you. We gave them much. Did you see the "we gave them much" message?
No.
You're listening to the HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out on me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Video streaming at halsparks.com.
I don't care for you or for the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Plus face little pimp stick.
True progressive talk.
Might be a good time for you guys to give up.
I just dosed myself with my new vocal remedy stuff, and we're hoping it works. I think I'll be able to talk for another hour, and then it might just blow out like a tire at high speed on a freeway, just plow, rap, 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 and just have one of my vocal cords just like I'll have to pull over because it's whoomp, 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 whoomp. I think we have a flat. Okay, so here we go. Affidavit heavily redacted. 3 exclamation points. Nothing mentioned on nuclear, in quotes. A total public relations subterfuge by the FBI and DOJ or our close working relationship regarding document turnover - we gave them much in all caps. Now, I don't know what that sentence means. Let's back up for a second. This is Donald Trump's most recent defense of himself, other than just articles and Newsmax and Fox video clips he's posting. Nothing mentioned on nuclear, comma, a total public relations subterfuge by the FBI and DOJ, comma, or our close working relationship regarding document turnover. So I think nothing mentioned on nuclear, a total, I don't know why the second part is a thing they would mention in the affidavit. By the way, I do swear under penalty of perjury, Your Honor, that we need this search warrant because we would like to engage in a total FBI political public relations subterfuge. All right. Or our close working relationship regarding document turnover, which apparently had died. Hence the need for a search warrant. All right. We gave them much. We gave them much. We gave them much.
That's not how any of this works.
That's not how it works. Also, that's not how English works. We gave them much. And weird in all caps, but a period after it. Meanwhile, the other sentence, I don't know. His punctuation is adorable. Judge Bruce Reinhart should never, in all caps, by the way, should never have allowed the break-in of my home. The break-in.
The one where your lawyer signed to say it was okay?
Right. The one where your lawyer was standing there while they went in and got stuff and got hey, anybody here ever had their house broken into? Did the thief leave an itemized list of things that were taken for them to be returned if they didn't belong to the thief in the first place? This is like an ex breaking in to get their records. Like, I came by, I used my key, I got my stuff. If there's anything in the stuff that I took that's yours, I'll give it back. It's that basically it's the federal government telling Trump that we're not that into him anymore. It's real this time. Like the fact that he calls it a break-in too. Again, a seizure, like a siege of his home, calling it his home. He keeps calling it his home instead of one of his several houses, and it's a private club he rents out to other people. It's got 58 bedrooms that are rented out as hotel rooms. It's a country club hotel. He lives in 3 of the rooms when he's there part of the time. He wasn't even there. How many of you haven't been home in 3 months because you have another home? You know, he's just like us. That's the thing. I appreciate how he gets us. He talks just like me, even, because sometimes I'll find myself going, which one of my 3 multi-million-dollar properties do I want to stay at this week? All right. That that I don't actually own and are probably going to be seized by the bank, but I've been able to finagle my way around that for decades. All right. He recused himself 2 months ago from one of my cases based on his animosity and hatred of your favorite president, me. What changed? What changed? What changed? Why hasn't he recused himself on this case? Obama must be very proud of him right now. Yeah, I know. It's all what. But this is, first of all, saying we gave them much when you're not supposed to give them much. You're supposed to give them everything. You're not supposed to give them some of the classified documents you're not allowed to keep out in the wind and keep in a broom closet or a basement storage room with a bathroom door lock on it that they put up. And later on, he's like, we put a padlock on it. Never said we shut it, though. Never said you latched it. Notice that, like, look, we locked that place up. Nobody says that. We put a padlock on it. We put a lock on it. Doesn't mean you engage the lock.
Yep.
I could put a new deadbolt on any door. Does that mean it's is the door open or closed?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just put a fresh lock on it. So, and I never turned it. I never did that one last step. There's so much of that weasel language in all of this stuff that it is just shocking. And knowing them and knowing how they will do everything they can to get around, use every weasel word in a legal sense to avoid real comeuppance. And yet,
weasel word.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. I mean, it literally, Donald Trump is why they're having to address the Electoral Count Act. They're going to have to, tighten the language up. Not because the law allowed for Mike Pence to do anything on January 6th, but because we don't want any question going forward. We're going to reword it because we're updating the terms of service because there's a security update. It's like when your iPhone has to do a security update and you're like, there's no new features, but somebody tried to hack it. There might be a backdoor they can hack this thing. We wrote it so that nobody can turn your phone on without your permission, but somebody found a way to do it. So we're going to go back. We're updating the terms of service. That's exactly what this is. It's why. Yep. It's why democracy is constant gardening. It's why you have to update regulations and that kind of stuff. It's not that anybody like that. The Obama administration eliminated so many regulations, more regulations during their time in office than any other presidency. You want to know one of the main reasons why, and this drives me crazy? Because of time. Time moves forward and technology increases, and the rate at which technology has improved and grown in the last 2 decades is shocking. And anybody who wrote a law about privacy, the Fourth Amendment, surveillance, any of that stuff, literally, Edward Snowden stole documents and other stuff that he never really, but stole stuff that was the American people need to know this is happening. They need to know that the federal government is getting this information, and they're not keeping it, but they're filtering it and that kind of stuff. Okay. What he basically ended up telling it, because of the timing of it, was that the federal government is now doing what every corporation can do just by buying the data. The federal government, there are laws to keep the federal government from looking at certain things, and there should be, but the federal government was only updating their ability to comb through data that goes in and through cell phones that any corporation with enough money could just buy. It's just for sale. And as a matter of fact, that was before even Apple and others, the big push for privacy started happening. So most people assumed that your cell phone was like a landline, and that of course you couldn't sell my who I call and when and what areas I call to another company any more than you could sell that from my landline, and all through the 90s, early 2000s. And then it became abundantly clear that was already happening for the better part of a decade without even asking. So laws were passed. Mm-hmm. You got to ask. Laws were passed. You got to tell people. Right. And No, not at all. Did she? Did Kimberly give us a super chat?
We got a super chat. I don't know if the K is silent in KNAUF. Knopf? Knopf?
Knuff? Enough Knuff? Yes. I think so.
Surrounded by only the best women. Marge, Trailer Trash, and Lindsay, ...
Brian's under the impression that Trump won't happen to anything because wealthy and millionaire Democrats won't allow it. They're all grifted criminal. I see. So they don't want people to look at him. Yeah, that's not how that works either. And they're not. Look, the Democrats are the ones who put forward the bill that says you can't trade stocks when you're a sitting member of Congress. That wasn't a bill put forward by Donald John Trump. Okay? And if anybody has done that heretofore, they're the reason that bill needs to exist. Again, we're updating the terms of service for the user, which is the citizen, and their government. And we do that all the time because there's always somebody, there's always a Trump out there going, well, it didn't say every day of the week. It says any day of the week, and it didn't mention night. So any day is not every day as we legally understand. Like, they're always those people. And that's why most of the, even in continuing resolutions and the amendment process and bills and stuff, we're constantly having to do this to make up for it, to make up for the weasel factor that the Trumps of the world create. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. It's the HAL Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide, on WCPT, Chicago's Progressive Talk. I want to talk about Ukraine when we come back because there's a bunch of stuff happened. Yeah. I love how there are a couple of refrains that are coming from the MAGA crowd that are hilariously bad defenses. I mean, the one was like, why didn't Nancy Pelosi surround the Capitol with 10,000 National Guard troops when she knew a bunch of Trump supporters were going to be in Washington? I'm sorry. Should she have? Why should anyone think that Trump supporters would storm the fucking Capitol?
Yeah.
What isn't that? I thought you guys put America first and wanted to make it great again. You didn't want to turn it into a dictatorship. It's an absurdity. And the fact that you're like, you should have known, we're lunatics. Like, it's a terrible defense. And the other one is that Donald Trump's wasn't making deals in another country. It was Hunter Biden that was doing these deals or whatever. Meanwhile, they're like releasing email stuff from his laptop that was taken in the tax case, which is a wholly different device, wholly different case, about those exchanges where he needed money. I'm like, well, you can't sell me on, look, he was getting money from his dad, for this kind of thing. You can't sell me that story and then tell me he walked out of China with $1.5 billion. It's like, where'd it go then? They got the Bidens have
coming back in 20.
Thanks. They have a house. They have like two houses, I think. One, the lake house, and then their other house. That's it. He bought the lake house with the book money, and you could see his taxes. I'm just amazed that they're okay with like, they'll just do anything they can to excuse Trump, and it just makes...
You're locked into the HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
We have been, we've reached the 6th month point of the mid-year anniversary, as it were, if you can call it that, of the Ukraine war, the Russian war on Ukraine, and this war, by the way, is another example of Biden being right and saying, I told you so. And these guys, there's no way Russia isn't going in. They're going to do it. Even Zelensky and those guys were like, I'm not sure they do this all the time. And the U.S., with all of our intelligence, uniquely in our history, was saying, no, you don't understand. We know they're coming in. we've heard, we don't want to tell you how we know, because then they're going to figure out where the bugs are and who's telling us. But we know that this is going to happen. And there was, I mean, like the 2 weeks leading up to it, Fox News, all these other sites, like Biden's trying to start this war. Biden's trying to he wants this to happen or something, which is weird and absurd. But he was just simply, no, this is a fait accompli. They've decided to do this. This was, and anybody who's been following sort of the demographics and the economics of Russia knows that this was always going to happen. It was a matter of, when, not if. Russia is, just like China, is facing demographic collapse. They are economically reliant on oil and gas. They make nothing. They have increasingly, but for the bravery of their astronauts, and hats off to the Russian people that are pushing back on this war. We see you even if they scoop you off the street and hide you someplace. We know you still exist. But for their Russians, but for the Russian astronauts, they haven't been a plus in terms of the space program and our relation with them in ages. It's just been a good place to launch from. And we've been supporting that as much as anybody else. But they haven't been the big contributor during this process. So Russia's narrow, and this is what happens when oligarchs run the place and the diversity of the economy tightens, around their interests. The quickest, most reliable, direct cash that's the easiest to hide. That's resource-based capitalism. The United States moved away from resource-based capitalism decades ago. The Industrial Revolution was the first example of that. That while we got steel and other things out of the ground, we used them here to make stuff that were, buildings, cars, all kinds of stuff. And then we became an invention society for the most part. Yes, we supply oil and gas to the world, but the vast majority of our exports are intellectual property and invention, patents. And that's been crucial to our success. The diversity of thought, diversity of invention, diversity of industry in our country. When you centralize the power structure of your country, and as much as people wanted to call like Obama a king or even Trump a dictator, the truth is we have decentralized power in the United States, and that's a good thing. We have states which have a tremendous power within their areas. We also have the House and the Senate and the presidency and the Supreme Court. And the Republicans have been trying to unify that power structure because that's the only way they think they can win. And no matter who you are, no matter what your political leanings are, once you try to unify on that great a scale and you wipe out the diversity of thought or political philosophy even within something, you end up with Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping. Right now, the greatest examples of centralized power collapse in human history, short of Mao and Stalin, I would suppose, or any kingdom, any monarchical kingdom that was wiped out during, anywhere from the 12th to the 16th century worldwide. Once you isolate it, this is why monarchies ultimately fail unless they start pretending to be democracies or parliamentary democracies or republics like England has been, or Finland, or rather Sweden. They will fall apart. And Russia decided at some point that the easiest thing to sell is the stuff that's in the ground, and the easiest stuff to make is disposable items where when the product fails, the person using it more than likely dies, so you don't get any bad Yelp reviews. And hence, military gear is their other biggest export. If they send out a crappy tank to a country like North Korea or somebody like that, by the time it fails, that person has died using it. Missiles, airplanes, that kind of stuff. And so there's never been Russia, and this is maybe why they get along with Trump so well. Russia has never seen in the modern era, a true comeuppance for what they did. Now, the fall of the Soviet Union is a totally different thing, and I'm increasingly of the mind that it was a rope-a-dope by the KGB types, that we'll just pretend to play nice because we're definitely losing this fight, and in 2 decades we'll come back around. Everybody is aware of the Chinese 2050 plan. The Russians had a similar one, and they've been aligning for a long time about this. And Russia there's the reason why Russia has some of the best chess masters in the world, and why they developed them, because they think in terms of strategic design in those areas. So it would not be surprising if ultimately books were written on the early 90s that Glasnost and all that stuff was just a show so that they could run around and play on the West's naivete and movement towards open markets. Like, hey, good. All right, we don't care who your president is, as long as the people get to pick their leaders. And we'll trade with you if you want anything we got, and you got anything we want. Let's talk, which is wholly different from how China and Russia run these days, especially now. That system, the oligarchical system in Russia, is in utter collapse, and this issue, and this issue, around the Ukrainian war is a prime example of that. Because Russia is going to war with inadequate military personnel, poorly trained, not adequate to the job. They're having to hire mercenaries. The mercenaries themselves, the Spetsnaz fighters and the Wagner Group, have been firing on each other in different areas of the Donbass. Let me say that again. The Wagner Group, the Russian mercenary group that they send everywhere to kill people, with, by the way, the tacit approval of the government, unlike, Xi or Blackwater, those kind of things where the American people are like, yeah, no, there's none of that in the Russian system. These are supposed to be well integrated. It's understood that this is a good thing, this kind of contract fighter use. They're shooting at the Spetsnaz guys. There's like for lack of a better phrase, a urinating contest that broke out between them and turned into hot war. And friendly fire is not what I would call it, John Doe. It is unfriendly fire. Friendly fire is accidental. Friendly fire is you don't know those people on the other side of the ridge are your guys, or you think that, or you accidentally fire on people who are one brigade ahead of you. They come up out of the trench and you guys are firing across and they get hit. That's friendly fire. This is open warfare between two different sects of Russian fighters on their own battlefield. It's nuts. Okay, so that in and of itself is, madness. But their own, Shoigu and all the Russian guys, we've talked about this with Philip and others, that they are, the gear they have, the parts of it have been sold for scrap or to other countries just through graft. Because the expectation was, he always says we're going in there, but we're not going in there. And then when you finally go in, you're like, yeah, but I can't build you 10 tanks right now. I sold the parts, all the insides. They look great on the outside, but they're empty. That kind of problem is what they're facing right now. And right now, a similar thing is happening in China. Because of climate issues, of which China has quickly become the worst actor on the planet about this, that has the means and wherewithal. There are other countries like India, for example, that in using coal-firing plants and that kind of stuff to get their energy are major contributors to global climate change, but don't have the resources to be able to fix it. China could, but hasn't been. And I have to take a break, but I want to talk about this. Have you seen the rivers in China, the videos of the rivers in China, Johnny? I doubt it. We'll be back right after this. It's the HAL Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide, on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Johnny, can you hear me okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
yeah, you
good.
Sound great.
Okay,
it's
good.
Getting better.
Nice. Okay, maybe it was I changed one of the settings on it. I turned off it has an auto gain control and a noise suppression in there, and I thought maybe that's because it's not anywhere else, that maybe that would do it.
Might have worked.
Yeah. So hopefully, there you go. By the way, thanks for the bits, guys. Thanks for everybody on Twitch. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're on Twitch and you got Amazon
Twitch
Prime, say again?
I said Twitch bits.
Twitch bits, yes. Bit me, baby. Come on. Hold on, let me bring this up real quick. Get out of here. Okay, 1 second. I have to bring up this other story. Yeah, this is, let's see. Let me show you the picture. This is a picture. This is straight up like apocalypse level shit. Okay. Look where these people are standing in this picture. That's the Yangtze River. That water, see the water in the distance that's down on the bottom?
Yeah.
You could almost wade through it. The water should be like 20 feet above their heads.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's and part of it's their routing of how they've done the rivers.
Coming back in 20.
Thank you. They took a big river and divided it out into a bunch of small ones. But like this is in a matter of like weeks. You know how much enormous amounts of water to do something like that has to just disappear?
Welcome back to the HAL Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Welcome back. So, massive amounts of drought are hitting China right now, and drying up huge parts of the Yangtze River, the famous river that I think most people, if you know of a river in China, the river you know of is the Yangtze, and it is the source of life for tens of millions of people, if not hundreds. And if it goes, so go they. There is no other way to put it. And there is nothing that the Chinese government has arguably been making it worse by diverting, because they make these giant mega structures. They take these cities and they wanted to make these giant gleaming cities to shock and stun the world with their enormous mega cities. Well, those cities require a lot of water, and they did not exist. They did not have the population nor the need to exist before. So they diverted this water to these areas on the premise that one of these days these cities are going to be full to the brim with people, and those people are going to need some of this water. There is only a finite amount of water in the Yangtze. It does not just magically fill up from, the sky vomiting water into it to whatever level it is at. It maintains it based on the regular precipitation. Its banks were created by millions of years of precipitation and erosion and movement. And when you, without any, the irony that this is a centrally planned system, and yet none of them, did enough geological survey to recognize this, that they have basically, not only have they petered out the vast flow of the Yangtze by dividing it as much as they did, but by doing so, the rivers that they materially made off of it, including the one that goes around Shanghai, around the Shanghai Bund, which is a fabricated river that was not there before. You could walk across that. Is now going back to its baseline. Nature, it's. I feel very Jeff Goldblum in this moment, where life finds a way, but it sometimes finds a way back to where it was, which was a dry basin. And we in the United States, we've done this occasionally. where we've built up dams and stuff to, to divert water and make it more viable for an area. And towns have built up around it because of that thing. And towns that may have existed before when the water wasn't diverted might disappear over time, over decades. But at no point did the federal government of America decide, okay, we're going to, Phoenix is great, but we're going to take a new city, like we're going to make a brand new city in Arizona and feed it water.
Actually, Philip, and I'm sorry, Hal, Philip in our chat has a very compelling question. How about the Yellow River by IP Freely?
Yeah, it's gone. It's a light sputter. He's older now though, and that's to be expected. It only runs 3 times during the night and in small and fits and starts.
Yeah.
I
pounced on that. I'm like, it's a third grader joke. Here I go.
No. I appreciate it. I love it. My favorite shirt in elementary school had a guy like a Keep on Truckin' kind of character drawing on it with a big book, and it said the name of the book was Rush to the Bathroom by Willie Make It and Betty Don't. And I love that shirt. I wore it to death. And it was one of those like old-fashioned 70s ones, so it cracked in the dryer, if you it's sad. It was never going to last very long, but it stank.
It's always a good one.
Yeah, so good. So, anyways, back to massive drought and famine. No, it's going to be necessary. We're going to have to laugh because we are no kidding. We are headed into the next 10 years are going to be a shift in the population of the earth in a way that most people couldn't fathom 10 years ago. I will rarely say this, but Elon Musk is right about the population of the earth and the number of workers versus retirees. That's true in every country. One of the reasons why he's so acutely aware of it is because he just opened that gigafactory in China right at the worst possible time. They started launching that right before COVID, and then he's been throwing good money after bad. Yes, we are at a tipping point. That absolutely, water goddess. And
you know what? I forgot to mention a super chat from Amos Barrow. They sent in $10 of treat money for Mr. Chip.
Amos, thank you so much. It will get to him. Although I'm gonna have to find some that are like weight control. We're getting like right up against the end of this block, and I feel like there will never be enough time to talk about, on a weekly basis, what we have to talk about. So I'm just going to say, live stream, watch the show, infotainmentwars.com during the week. I'll be back on Monday. I have a morning show Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right after Stephanie Miller. If you listen to it on CPT, you can hop over onto my live stream and listen there. And then, of course, in the afternoons, 3 p.m. Pacific. Now, I have to say, like having traveled in China and then having our dear friend Philip, who'd been to Russia many times. This is humanity is at a turning point, and Americans in particular, also Canadians, a lot of Western Europeans especially, are going to dodge this in large part. There are going to be flailing stories of out of control immigration as people leave areas that are no longer habitable or that are stricken with war. All the stuff that like we've been talking about for decades is starting to kind of march a little bit closer. And the only way we're going to ever solve these things is to innovate our way out of it. That invention, science and technology is really going to be the only way that we will make it out of this. And that is the part, I think, the best part that America can play going forward is inventions, cures, that kind of stuff. And so everything that we can do to get people better educated for the coming future so that your great ideas meet the ability to make them happen. An inventor is nothing if it is simply a flight of fancy. And that's why Biden's education rollout this week of $10,000 of relief for student loans, on top of another $10,000 if you got a Pell Grant, on top of anybody who was in a service job where they were in the reserves or they're in the military or they were a nurse or they were working in emergency rooms and those kind of things, that the problem with like pausing their student loans during that time where they were supposed to get credit and they'd have to keep refiling, intentionally making it difficult for them so that they wouldn't do it and then they would end up owing more money, that's gone. That was an addition. Clarity in the rankings of schools in the studentaid.gov site that now tells you, well, if you're going to take out this kind of a loan for this kind of a degree, here's what you can expect to make in this field. And then that's a standard the school is judged on going forward, a genuine one for whether or not federal aid applies to that school, whether they're credit for it. And done in a way, of course, that made all the right people mad. Did it erase everyone's student loans? No. But the majority of people who have student loans have $26,000 worth of student loans, student federal loan debt, through multiple sources. That the first 10,000, second 10,000, and then credit served. That means like 42 million people are effectively getting their loans erased.
Mm-hmm.
Now, much has been made about why didn't you just zero it out for everybody? Rich people don't take out loans. That was what we heard. All right. Everybody was like, rich people don't take out college loans. Yeah, they do. Because rich people, if you look at Donald Trump and his ilk, know how to use loans to avoid.
Yeah, they totally take out loans. They don't get financial aid, but they do take out loans.
Yeah, but they'll get, if the federal loan is available and that's the lowest rate, and they can write off the rate, you've got the money to pay for school for cash. You can part with that money, or you can take a federal loan, which will pay for it. You just give that money back over time, which is a minimal amount of what you're making already or your family makes already, and you write off the interest. And you keep this $40,000, so midway through your junior year, you've got startup money. Midway through, if you're going to you're gonna be, create apps or as a breakout, or you can afford to, diversify how you take some of your classes because you can work at the same time at a higher end job where you're making well beyond what the average person makes. Of course you take out that loan. Of course you do. But you're more apt to, by the way, take out $80,000 or $125,000 because you're going to an elite school, and that elite school allows you to rub elbows with other people who are going to elite schools to rub elbows with you, and therefore that you start a business with somebody you knew from Yale and da-da-da-da-da, and then we hear all these stories about how, oh yeah, that I met them at Yale and that they clerked for this judge that I knew because this judge. How many of those stories have you heard over the last couple of years when people talk about, judges or people who work in the DOJ or something like that, that's what you're paying for. The education's great, but part of it is you're paying for that slightly better professor who might be a little more knowledgeable and the ability to rub elbows. The idea that the American taxpayer should pay you to rub elbows with people as opposed to get educated is absurd. But the baseline cost of that, is crucial for a lot of people who are leveling up, who are moving from one class to another. That's where Biden's help was focused and where it will do the most good. And those folks who are looking forward to a payment that they would have to make towards their student loans, whatever that might be, maybe it's $125 a month, maybe it's $250, maybe it's they're getting more money, but their payments are going up, so it's almost like they kind of like even out their discretionary money that they could spend on themselves or their children or their family or their food or whatever, to eat better, to have a better phone, to get a better computer, to all those kind of things. They now have that as an option. And that lets loose the invention of those folks. You now have educated people not having to spend money on their student loan payments, that puts them not even with that person I was telling you that had the $40,000 to start with. They're not even with them. That person still did okay. That person may still get the relief on part of their loan if they did 80 and they paid half in cash and they got half of it in a loan. But ultimately, everybody gets that baseline shave off. So even people who bet on a bigger career that was more expensive, and they were like, I want to do this. I want to be in government one day. I want to be a Supreme Court justice. So I'm going to have to go to law school to do this, and I'm going to have to work at this level to get to that goal. I can't afford that unless I take out a huge loan. That person also, in that process, has some of theirs shaved off, but not the entirety of it. Therefore, educated populace that when they have inventive, creative, and important, forward-thinking ideas, they can now have the financial ability to implement it. And going forward, if you're going to educate yourself, you have more protections on that you will have a useful degree and that you'll have some sense of support if it turns out not to be, not by any fault of your own. I'm for it. I think he did exactly the right thing.
Yep.
You can tell because it pissed off all the right people.
Yep.
And the spikes on the margins went crazy. But the independents in the latest Gallup polling, since the CHIPS Act to student loan reform, up 7 points, ladies and gentlemen. The Republicans support Joe Biden at 4%. 4%. The same crowd that said we support the president no matter what because the threats out there are so big. 4% of Republicans support Biden. 81% of Dems, I don't know, I mean, I know who the other 19% are, and we see you. And you're lunatics, but bless your heart. And then, of course, the independents, which flop back and forth each time, up 7 points in the last month. 7. Leading into a midterm of Biden and what the Democrats are actually making happen. It's a great sign. It's scaring the pants off of everyone else, and it is going to usurp, it's going to overtake the story about Mar-a-Lago and the raid and all that stuff and make Trump's legal woes look like a pitiful sidecar to the real problems that Republicans have getting elected this fall and in the coming years. We'll be back right after this. It's the HAL Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Thank you, Greg and Loretta and Environmental Coffee House.
And Cat Cookie, thank you.
And Cat Cookie.
Cat Cookie says, I just saw a guy holding a handmade Biden stole 2020 sign. He was wearing a Dr. Shiva shirt, too. That's the dude who invented email, who I think who works for, was in Lindell's thing. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it makes total sense.
Invented an email.
Yeah, that's his story.
All right, hang on a second. I have to go sort my cat out. Be right back.
All right. Poor baby. I know that guitar. Hi, chat. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome, everybody. Don't forget to, if you're watching on YouTube right now, a thumbs up. That helps. If you're on Facebook and you're a real person, those little, it's great when you guys write stuff in, but also when you when it allows you to give it a little emoji or whatever, use those with some regularity. Apparently, the Facebook algorithm is more based on those things than anything else. That's how they know it's liked, whatever. It's so strange. Like that you like the show, that you care. It's more than any other aspect. Hold on.
Coming back right now.
Okay, cool.
I am happy, you are happy. Let us be happy together, whether the weather is cloudy or sunny. I will always be your funny honey bunny. I am lucky, you are lucky. Let us get lucky together, whether the weather is cloudy or breezy. I'll say, hey, come on, let's take it easy. Cause isn't it nice to have the friends that you do? And isn't it nice that the sky is so blue? And isn't it nice to say I love you, chugga chugga choo choo, woo woo. I am smiling, you are smiling, let us smile together. Whether the weather is cloudy or stormy, I will still be there in the morning. I'll be right by your side in the morning. I'll make you breakfast in the morning. I hope that you like cereal.
Yay!
Can I'm really going to start the happy ending this week with one of these stories. There was a major breakthrough in spinal cord healing in the last couple of weeks. They've been working on this for quite a while, but they're implanting little like electrodes that are triggered along the way that wake up other neurons and basically reprogram them to like reroute around a severed spinal cord. And they have made incredible progress. There was a story this week, and I was looking it up while we were in this break, but it's it is basically allowing people. There was a man who he had his spine severed. He'd been paralyzed for 5 years, and he now is walking. It obviously halted. Obviously, it's early days, but his legs are moving.
That's crazy talk.
And he can feel his feet, because part of it. There's some cases where you can get the muscle neuron, the muscle nerves to fire, or if you through stimulation, but the person can't react to the sensation of their foot being down. So it's like trying to walk when your feet are numb. You can learn to do it over time because your body will shift around, but it's really difficult because you don't know the amount of pressure. You require special boots and shoes so you don't turn an ankle, that kind of thing. Imagine if your feet were always asleep when you woke up. And that in of itself makes it very difficult. But it's an incredible advance that they're able now to also get sensation back, meaning that they can stabilize. These are. And I would like to remind everyone of this. When when people get, mad at me wrongly and foolishly for being optimistic and telling people that, things are moving in the right direction on a lot of fronts. I'm talking about this stuff. I'm talking about the fact that while, Trump is rage tweeting on Truth Social, and by the way, Truth Social, it looks like Truth Social is going bankrupt. I can't imagine why. It seems like such a great business model. Why wouldn't you do that?
Don't you want to throw your ad money at that?
No, Johnny. Let me. You got some money sitting around. I want you to listen to my pitch. Here it is. There's
all right, talk to me.
There's already 4 major social media websites. They're huge. Everybody uses them. One for business, which is LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, the primary ones. There's these sidecars of TikTok and Snapchat. They, basically ad campaigns on short videos. But wait. So conservatives, though, don't like the fact that Trump wasn't on Twitter anymore. So they broke out and they made 5 of their own singular audience websites.
There are 5 of those things?
Yeah. The main ones are Gab, Parler, and what's the other one?
Truth.
No, Getter. Gab, Parler, and Getter.
I thought Parler was gone.
No, it got hacked, but it's still there. They're all gone. I mean, come on. It's the same. I mean, okay, and here's the pitch. I'm going to make another one of those.
Oh, good.
The social media site with the small audience that is already overserved and doesn't know where to be? Yeah. And here's the catch. It's going to look just like Twitter.
Shut up.
Only not as well run. Yeah, same thing. It looks. Design-wise, it's just identical. They just copied it. Oh, and it'll be built on an open source platform that you're not supposed to use without a commercial license. And I'm going to wait to get the commercial license until they sue me. Come on, write the check. I don't know what you're doing. Why are you not writing right now? Why are you not adding zeros? So. While he's doing that, while Trump is, remember, What did Biden do when he left the White House? What was his primary focus, besides getting other Dems elected, of course? Cancer moonshot. That was their focus. They were going around the country. They were raising money for that. They set up a coordinating committee for all these cancer charities to work together so that they would all, because they're all, working on one part of it. But, kind of like post 9/11 Intel, if they talk to each other, maybe they could avoid a lot of the problems that we see, right?
Yeah.
So, and they could maybe help each other move the progress along. So that's what he started working on. That was Biden's thing. Remember, his son had brain cancer and passed away. He was dedicating a portion of his life to that cause. What did Trump do after he left office, besides whine, rally, and try to destroy the country? Created a social media, Trump media organization that was going to rival, he was going to have a news network that would rival Newsmax, which, yet again, you've got a business model. You're going to do, I'm going to start a news. I think the internet news out there they're getting it all wrong. They've got the wrong message. And I know there's an audience out there that is not getting served. And so I'm going to start my own media empire where I serve that audience, which is, of course, smaller than the bigger audience, doesn't have the money to spend on advertised stuff that everybody else has. And there's already RSBN, RAV, OAN, Newsmax, and then Fox on top of that, which created, right after that, Fox Nation. So Trump's going to come out with Trump Media. Right? I mean, first of all, everything's a reboot with this idiot. But how can anyone tell me that this guy knows anything about business? I mean, he bankrupted a casino, and that's been a long-running joke. But everything he has tried to do is a copy of what somebody else does, just poorly. And most of his... Yep. I mean, the dude was buying golf courses when golf courses weren't making any money. And why did they get all this money for golf courses? Why was that? Because they got all this money through Deutsche Bank that came from Russia. And apparently it was just like, here's what we want you to do. Buy golf courses. Because then people come and go. They fly all over the world to go to golf courses. Not weird at all. We want one in New Jersey, close to New York. We want one in Florida because that seems to be a pivotal state for that. How about the Texas and Los Angeles because media and oil? And that's exactly what he did. Nobody can tell me the art of the deal is just is just a soft bound pile of toilet paper. There can't be anything in there worth knowing if this is the business plan. That's what he did. That's what he did when he left office. And that's all he has. Let me explain something else to everybody before we leave, and we're at the end of the show. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thanks for supporting WCPT and all the advertisers as well. Love you, Johnny Million. Here's what you need to know. Trump is a terrible businessman. It was always a farce. He was an inside joke in New York. His father built the empire, and he's just unwinding it over decades like any second-generation rich kid. The only difference is it didn't go up his nose within weeks. The only thing that saved the Trump organization was that he didn't do cocaine. He had other stuff of choice. That was it. That was it. And that's all it's ever going to be. Trump is not going to be the kingmaker of the Republican Party. He's not going to be the presidential nominee next time. And he's eventually going to watch as everyone leaves him to his pile of ever-growing legal troubles. And it can take as long as it wants. And I'm just going to... We're popping popcorn. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week. Take care of yourself. Love you, Johnny. Love you, Chicago.
Love you, Haley.
Love you, chat room. Thank you guys for the support. Infotainmentwars.com.
We got the documents.
We don't need them. Rob Glenn, thanks. Hi, Rob Glenn. We're going to see you in Chicago. The next week, I'm going to do a big push for sexy liberal Johnny Million. So I might try and get Fugelsang to come on.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, talk it up. I think we may be close to sold out anyways, but it doesn't hurt. We need to sell it out so that we can do more of them. because it's usually selling out is about convincing venues. Like, oh wow, these guys sell out. Let's bring them out. It's about convincing Steph. Like if we get if we get 98% capacity, she's like, oh, it's so much work. But if we sell it out, it's it's adorable. Anyways,
that's ridiculous.
The long game of the destruction of the art of the deal. It is Alyosha. It's just terrible. It's just so stupid. Anyways, Johnny, I know you got to go take care of your cat.
The ailing kitty cat.
Yeah. So much love and hugs to you, and I can't wait to see you. I'm gonna be there in a couple weeks. It's like
I know, I can't wait.
3 weeks, 4 weeks away. So exciting, and I'm gonna.
It would be big hugs.
Yeah, it would be nice, and thanks Chicago. It would be nice if we could do one of those like fan gathering things with CPT.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like one of those on the out in public ones, maybe.
Yeah.
If there weren't so many lunatics in the world, I suppose maybe we could do it. In some place that requires you to go through 3 doors is all. But still, I would love that. So yeah, sexy liberal.
Are you gonna get to nap today?
No, I'm not. I'm in a hotel. I've got a late checkout, but I'm gonna pack my stuff up, shove some food down my face, and race to the airport. And then when I get home, I might collapse early. That's a possibility.
Oh, yeah.
I might just fall asleep at 6, like like Steph, like Steph and everybody at her show, because they all have to go to bed at 6 o'clock because they get up at 2 or 3 to do the show at in the morning. Morning shows are hell. They're just like, I have to say, like, give it up on my way out the door. Give it up for all the people who do morning shows, even the morning zoos. There's a reason why those people are crazy, because that's just they get up right. There is a time of the morning when assassins and strike teams know that even well-trained soldiers are at their most exhausted. So post-duty on a tower or any kind of environment where people walk a wall or whatever, at somewhere between 3:45 and 4:15 a.m., everybody wants to go to sleep. Even if you slept all day, like your brain just starts to go, I should not be awake at this point in actual time. It's like hypnosis, and it's really hard. And that's when they attack or whatever. That's basically when morning shows like Steph's are prepping. They're coming in for prep.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's crazy. So much love to them, and I salute them. I ain't doing that. No. Anyways, love you. And I have to say, we're setting up a Chicago Nerd Halen show at some point.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, and it might even be with Enough's Enough, which would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
Oh boy, would it. And I just either we have to get Convoy to play with you or whatever your current
Chip actually likes Convoy.
Huh? Oh, good.
Chip actually likes Convoy.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, see, that might be perfect. At the very least, you have to come up and do like dueling solos with Caleb or something on a song.
Caleb can school me. That guy's amazing.
Yeah. But he's like, what we have to do is you'll do Brian May solos or something, or Ace Frehley solos, and he'll do that. And like, he doesn't know any of that stuff.
Starfleet.
Yeah, it'd be like the end of Crossroads, when he's I can't do that, whatever that is. Yeah. Anyway, so it's gonna have to happen somehow. Even if you just come up and like do rhythm with us and that kind of stuff, would be so fun.
Oh yeah, I can take my way through a couple songs.
I'm gonna insist. That I would say, I'm the One. Obviously the biggies, like, Unchained and that stuff. I'm sure you can, bury that one, no problem.
I don't know. I think I used to play Panama.
All right, there we go. That's a good one, and that's a tough one to time out. So we'll have a band meeting later. Yeah. I love that idea. Band meeting later. But anyways, I adore you. Big hug. And the fact that Chip was there and I was talking about Chicago so much, like all I could, like every 8 seconds, I'm like, Johnny Million.
Aww.
Johnny. So, anyways, all right. Much love. I will see you later. Take off and
safe travels.
We'll talk soon. Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, chat room. Oops, I'm in the wrong space. Look at that. It made my screen really small. Hold on. Whoa. Hi. Chat room, you guys are lovely. Thanks so much. I'm looking at the thing, and it seems to me, and I'll have to see if I can fix this. Is Facebook up today? Was it down? Is Facebook down, or is there just no Facebook chat? I have to see that because it looks like it's one of those situations where, like, I find out I didn't re-up my. Sometimes you have to mess with the destinations. Edit destinations. Where's that? Okay. Nope, we're good. Says we're there. Okay. Maybe people just watching on Facebook. Oh, there's one. Okay. There you go. Yeah, Facebook is up. Okay, good. Because I just didn't see a bunch of those in the chat, in the mix of chat. So I get worried. You understand. Forgive me. Whew. Man. We're here. Yay. No, now I see you. So thanks so much. Facebook is, a bit rough. So, anyways, because I mentioned that thing earlier about the little emoji things, and I was like, did I just say that on a day when Facebook isn't up or something and waste that? Like, I was trying to remind myself about it, but I also, it's not also nice to know when I say that, that's when the real people, when I check on you guys, that's when you guys really pipe in, and that's when I know you're real humans who really watch the show, as opposed to the bot farm stuff. This is Facebook. No, you're not on Facebook. That's yeah. So you're leaving. Everybody was bailing out. All right, I have to pack up all my stuff and get on the road. And I want to, on my way out the door, thank the Patreon supporters. I'm using the new Elgato camera because of you guys, and why I was so weirded out about why audio wouldn't be perfect today is because I actually got a Rode mic to take around the Elgato. It's the same one I use in studio at home, which works really well. And this is all thanks to you guys. So thank you, patrons, for that support. It's really great. It helps immensely. And thanks to all the super chats today and the bits and the subscriptions. Obviously, Twitch subscriptions are very, 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 very helpful, and are one of the crucial things for Wizards. You can gift them if you already have one. And I always do the sales pitch at the tail end of the show, and it's just silly. Anyways, I adore you guys, love you, and I will see you guys on Monday. I'm going to rest my voice for a day and a half because, boy, oh boy, have I been vocally, I have been burning the candle at both ends and trying to light the middle. Much love. Okay, see you guys later.